We are Brightside.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. A home theater podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights,
the snowflakes,
and the scenes.
All right, let me get that right.
The sounds.
The scenes.
There we go.
For the audio only guys, they don't know what's going on, but
it suddenly got very chilly in here.
Yeah, but we got a lot of snowflakes falling.
You like the audio only?
I
worked really hard on that this week. I was so excited to show it to you guys. You haven't seen it until now.
Yeah. Are any two alike, or are they all good?
Oh, no. I made sure to make them all different.
Made sure everyone was different. Okay.
Just like Mother Nature. Like Mother Nature. So, I've been running the backgrounds here. So how we doing in the chat there, Steve? Looks like we're busy.
Yeah, we've got plenty of guys in the chat. And rightly, the first person to post tonight is Steve Att, who's in the chat. So we've got Steve Att. We got, hi, Steve. Hi, Mike. Mikey Schramm is in. We've got Brockstar in. A new person, Benny Sibbett. Someone new in. Hi, Benny. If you're along for the first time, welcome to the show.
Hey, Benny.
Jump right in. I would normally say the water's warm, but apparently it's cold. It's snowing.
It's chilly.
Jordan's in. Hiya, Jordan. Joseph's in. Joe, forgive me. Paul is in. And Dominique's in all the way from France. Paul's just dropped in. Van Gool is here. And we have got, and
Brockstar.
One More Coffee. There's a new one.
One more coffee. Nice.
Good evening.
There we go. Yeah, you could have got one for us.
Right. Yeah, just one more.
Wait, Deej, stop the show. Stop the show.
Why? What do we do now?
Stop the show.
Stop
the show.
Stop
the show.
Only Steve is correct on that, Van Gool?
No.
Steve?
Van Gool is referring to today's Takeover Tuesday, where a listener wrote in and said, DJ, you have been vindicated with a review. And I didn't name the movie, and it was not Evil Dead Rise. So, Steve just dropped out. He said that may be happening from time to time. He just literally just dropped out.
No, he's gone, because if he shut the camera off, it would just be blank.
He would just be down there, So something happened, but
he dropped out.
But yeah, so see that? Steve's trying to promote Evil Dead Rise. He pushes Van Gool's comment onto the screen.
Out of the...
And he got booted.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Did you not see all that? Did that not happen to you? I just put on the virtual background and the whole thing started flickering and went black.
Oh, no, you were just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So I had
that's why I don't run it.
Going.
Yeah, it takes a lot of bandwidth, and it can really screw things up. No, don't worry about it. It's just
it was well worth it, though, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was freaky. That was weird.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Do continue.
That's okay. Ouch. So yeah, it was a completely different situation about a different movie, about a different thing that we disagreed on. So, but it is funny because that's why I didn't say it. We have a lot of disagreements. So you'd be hard pressed to figure out which one it was. Right. But yeah, thanks, Van Gool. Thanks for listening. People listening. I had I had a couple of little rants in there. Speaking of which, we had a situation go on. Did you guys see my Twitter last night about this one?
I've never heard of this reindeer thing.
Me neither. That's why I mentioned it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was Rudolph on your regular CBS, our regular local CBS affiliate, right? And then I was like, oh, okay. And first thing my wife shows me, this is what pops up. Actually, it was this one that popped up here. And I was like, oh, Fubo must be having some. I've seen these before when, your cable provider would be having a an issue with the whoever it is, right? HBO Max at one time or HBO. And I was like, just go over to Paramount Plus. And she's like, okay, nope. I was like, oh. So yeah, apparently that's the deal. It's like if it's already streaming and I figured like Apple TV probably has it and they're not like, you cannot stream this. It can only go over the air, which I think is kind of crappy for the affiliates like CBS and stuff, because what the hell? It's like, what about the people that don't have any stream? You can't see Rudolph anymore. You have to stream it. Or as people are adding, people on Twitter, which I agree, buy the physical media. But that's not the point of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was, brought to you by, Almond Joy. It's like it was brought to you once a year and you got to stay up and watch it as a kid. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to have it. And for everybody most people are like streaming or cable or whatever. And it's like, so how does this work? Like you can't, you got to get a cable
just have
provider.
To have an antenna. Yeah.
Or have an antenna or Apple TV Plus, which I think is kind of crappy. I mean, it's not like
they have it.
Yeah, I guess whoever owns it, but they're not allowing it to air through streaming other than through their stream. And it's like, but what if you've got your local channels and that's all you have? And it's like, you're not doing all the, I'm lucky enough. Yeah, I already have it in multiple locations, but that's not the point. It's like, it's a holiday movie for everyone, So I kind of didn't like that.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I had to stream Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I had to stream it on Apple TV because that's where it is. It's the only place it is.
Yeah.
And,
that's what I do too. I choose to do that because I do it at our time. Jen and I watch it probably once a year. Right. Same with Rudolph. And I was actually working on the computer and on the backgrounds and stuff here. And she was just trying to put on something fun. And I was like, it's not even about me. I don't care. I wasn't really going to watch it anyways. But for the people that don't have the physical or don't have that ability to get all of these things, it's like, I know how to answer the question. It's the point of, wait a minute, what about the people that just want to watch it? And they have, you have Fubo or whatever. And it's like, a lot of people don't have these things because like us, we're like, oh, I just got to get everything I can because I want to have as much content as possible. Some people are just like trying to plunk the kids down in front of the television with the best that they can do. And you're like, oh, wait, I got to get Apple TV Plus. And you got kids going, wait a minute, what's going on? You're like, oh, no. Sorry, kids. No Rudolph for you. That's pretty crappy.
I'd be more concerned about my kids sounding like a sort of 50-something East Coaster, to be honest, Teach. Anyway. Hey, Dad, I really want to watch Rudolph. Oh, okay. Where are you from?
What's funny is I hear my voice back. I've edited myself now for 5 years, and but the voice I still hear in my head. John knows it. It was sad. My voice didn't change until junior year. It's still that voice. I still hear that, like my high-pitched voice. It's horrible in my head.
That's very sweet. I like that.
Yeah. I don't.
Quick say hello to a couple more people that have dropped in. So hi Ian, he's dropped in. Joseph Jordan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Someone new. Yeah, hiya Joseph, if you're along for the first time. VJ's dropped in, AA's in as well. So hi guys, welcome along.
Carl's in the chat, I just noticed. And we got this Joseph Joden. Probably.
Yeah, that's what I showed.
Yeah, hello to everyone taking a break from putting up the Christmas lights and staring at my new NX5 that just showed up. Nice. I have a feeling the Christmas lights are going to not be, stop on that and we're going to get that NX5 connected. And when that's done, we can resume the festivities.
Well, unless that NX5 is just going to be one of those ones in the garden, just showing, just putting the snow things on the front of the house, just to make it really bright. Yeah.
That's an expensive projector to put outside for the lights on the side of the house. Still here. DJ's mic drop out every 60 seconds or so. Okay. I don't know what to do. Do you guys hear
What's
it?
that?
I don't hear it.
What?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah,
yes, it is.
Yeah. It's internet. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought it was snowflake phones.
Yeah, it's the snowflakes, Steve. They're interfering with the signal.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought we
virtual
figured it out
backgrounds.
last week. Yeah, I thought we figured it out last week. Yeah, and the audio from yesterday's went so bad because I do back everything up here, little podcasting 101. I'm recording everything here, and then yesterday's, this was all backed up. I got a 256 gig memory on this. This had run out, so that was a disaster. 2 weeks ago when John recorded, we only got part of his. Remember when you dropped in and out? Those were fun to put together. So I do the best I can. Keep up with me. I was kidding.
We'll fill in the blanks.
I was watching a kung fu movie for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, don't let the moustache fool you. He's not going to do a Jaime style flick of the
No. But John, how funny, how far we've come, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Would you ever have thought in high school that somebody would be complaining they're not hearing enough of me? John's like, John knows.
I used to wish my ears would cut out every 30 seconds in high school.
Sounds like headphones needed to have been invented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Swap cables and mic. Oh, okay, Carl. Yeah, swap cables and mic. Yeah, let's get right on that. Because
Ian,
here, it's perfect. It's only with you guys. I'm telling you, the cables and I'm not cutting out. I got a hard line into this. It's only through the internet. It's not. It's not my end. It's all you want me to disconnect my internet and reconnect it? That would be it. It's not this end.
No, it's okay. Ian, yes is the answer to your question, mate. We're going to talk about it a bit later, buddy.
We will get to that. We have a bunch to get to today.
Yes.
Let me get back to the brand there. You want to start getting right to them? I can't think. Do we have anything else to get to before then?
The usual stuff about
quick.
November and
Movember. Thank you to everybody. This is the last podcast we'll be doing this with this, and thank you to everybody that's donated so far. And Men's Health, that's what it's all about. You've got a few days to get boxes of popcorn in. But like I said in today's show, it will be, I'm taking all the boxes of popcorn up until Thursday. We'll go 100% to Ryan's charity. Links are in the show notes. So I thought we did pretty good so far. Like I said, we're at around $500. Not, for this month we had Johnny Speakers giving $100. We had the 24-hour podcast. We brought in a little over $100 on that, and then people on top of that. Then your patrons and the YouTube, they take their cut. Blah blah blah. But yeah, we're over $500. So between that and Patreon, so thank you to everybody on Patreon. So, but everybody else, we had, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Just be thankful. As you boys know, not everybody's so thankful, so if you had a great Thanksgiving, enjoy it. If you did not, hopefully better next year. So, you guys know. So, let's see. I think that should just about do it. We'll get to our experiences for the week. Let's have some fun here. So let me get that. There we go. There it is. And you can keep talking, guys. But I forgot to run the audio for that. Where is the audio for that? Not go push play. There it is. Are you ready, John?
There
with your first?
is.
It's been a while, and we're all in the holiday spirit. So let's bring it up.
We're in the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
So this was Sisu. Finally got a chance to check this out. 4K disc, Dolby Atmos. Man, was this movie bonkers. In the best way, right?
Had you seen it before?
Yeah.
No, I hadn't seen it. This was my first time watch of this. I mean, I knew what it was. I've seen the trailers and obviously heard you guys talk about it. I knew it was essentially John Wick fighting the Nazis. But yeah, man, what a fun ride this was.
I think the quote should be the most grounded World War II movie ever, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The disc is great. I thought it was a great presentation. I thought the audio and video were both Both really, really good. I don't know if it's reference quality on either one. I don't know of any scene specifically that I would pull up. Also, keep in mind, this was almost 3 weeks ago now that I watched this, so I'm struggling a little bit to remember some of the major scenes. But
what was the audio in again? Did you say?
I thought it was in 5.1, but the notes DJ has here say Atmos, so I don't know if I wrote down Atmos.
No, I just went my memory, but
okay,
that's what I had. Yeah, sorry.
All right, yeah, I was a little confused by that because I'm pretty sure it was 5.1 upmixed.
Yeah, it is.
On the disc. Yeah. But I looked, like I said, I went by the notes and I said, well, maybe I forgot. So, but yeah, still, it sounded great. And you know, like I said, I don't want to go too deep on this because we got a lot and we've covered this before. But if you haven't seen this, you know, at this point now, the disc is on sale everywhere. It's down to like $15. Definitely pick it up because it is well worth it. And fun. This will be fun to revisit multiple times. So,
I've seen, it's one of my movies of the year, this one. Certainly the below the line movies. I think this is a riot. So, and I've seen it 6 times.
I know you've seen it a couple times at least. Yeah,
no, I'm up to 6 now, and I could keep watching this film. This film could just play on a loop, and I'd be quite happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super fun, and like I said, really good ride. So, well worth it.
Yeah, good fun.
Do not catch a plane in this way, though. Let's just be clear.
What's that?
This is not the way to catch a plane, either to or home from Thanksgiving.
No. Yeah.
No.
So funny. Oh man. All right. You ready for the next one, Steve?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
All righty. Here we go. This is a little cheerier, I hope.
Yeah. Well, this is a film that surprised me. Okay, so this is Strays, 2023 movie on just 1080p Blu-ray. It's not out in 4K yet. It's a Universal film, so this will be in 4K next year, almost certainly. And it's in DTS HD 5.1 MA. A comedy about stray dogs who, in live action, who embark on a quest to travel from one place to another to inflict a grievous injury on a previous owner. And it's an R-rated comedy and various hijinks ensue. Now, for this film, I'm going to blame Jordan Carpenter, who's in the chat, to accept his blame, because I was not going to buy this. And I was not going to buy this because I had seen reviews saying it's dreadful. And yet when Jordan told me it was out and he'd got it, I thought, well, I'll look on IMDb and the reviews are in the mid-50s. Now, for this kind of comedy, that's quite an endorsement. So I thought, well, I'll buy it. And I did buy it, and I watched it last night. I was pleasantly surprised, in as much as it's a film with lots and lots of jokes. Most of them miss, but some of them really do land. And when they do land, they are very funny indeed. And a number of them I've been quoting all day today and annoying various people that I've encountered. Because there are some very funny jokes. It's always a
ringing endorsement of a movie.
Yeah, well, I know.
I'm quoting it and annoying everybody.
Well, I'm dying. Honestly, guys, I am dying to spoil them, but I'm not going to because it's not fair. But there are some very funny jokes. One particular knock-knock joke, which is very funny. And this is worth seeking out, guys. Probably rent it because you might not like it. All right, but it's worth, for me, it was worth buying. If you think you might like it, definitely rent it, give it a go. DJ, I think you'll get a kick out of this one because this one, of course, is all about dogs.
Theme? It seems like it does.
No, there's no Christmas stuff in this. What it does have, though, is the cheer out loud movie moment of the year. Of any film I've seen this year, this has the biggest cheer out loud moment set to Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
I love that song.
I swear to you, fellas, Now, bear in mind, I like to watch movies on my own in the cinema room, and this one I watched on my own. I genuinely was this close to standing up and going, yeah, flipping get some.
Oh, awesome.
All right?
Oh, now you got me.
Honestly.
Now I feel like it's a must
You'll know
own
it when
for
you
me
hear
now.
it. Yeah. I think, Deej, you'll like it. I think you will like this. And as I say, don't get me wrong. A lot of the jokes miss. Okay, a lot of them do miss, but some of them are fantastically funny. And
Is
so
it
I
because
do
I'm
recommend having
not
a go.
smart enough to get them? Is that why they'll miss?
No. In fact, the jokes that are best are the ones that are actually very well observed. You know, the people that have made this have got dogs, love dogs, and I think that there are some fun observations about dog behavior and that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend people see it. No huskies, Paul. Sorry, mate. You just said, are there any huskies in it? Sorry, guys, no huskies. But that'll make DJ relax. There was a husky in it. I think you'd be on edge the entire film. But
only if they were going to kill it.
No. Well, there is now. I should
Or
say,
shoot it.
The owner of the dog that's on the left there is not very nice to the dog. But you don't ever actually see any any actual nastiness. And as I say, that person gets their comeuppance. So it's genuinely worth seeing, guys. I was really pleased with this. In terms of audio video, it's 1080p, looks really nice. It's a digitally shot film. It's a new movie, so it looks really good. Lots of daytime stuff. Everything looks great. Audio is always hit and miss with a comedy. You never quite know whether it's going to be worth it or not. But at the 33-minute mark, something happens where you suddenly get overhead effects. You get bass rumbles. It does a pseudo sort of attack sequence where suddenly your speakers come to life. You're like, oh, wow, okay, that was quite good. It's not Oppenheimer, but it's got some bass to it and some heft to it, which is quite unexpected. So yeah, it's worth seeing. Don't go buying it for a lot of money, anyone. I don't want anyone blaming me if they think it's rubbish, because some people might. But I think if you're in the right frame of mind, if John's had his appropriate cookies, then I think that you might have a real blast with this.
I don't know if I want talking dogs after that.
Yeah, well,
push me over the edge.
Yeah. That's it, man. What's going on? But I do want to talk to you guys about the knock jokes after. So when you see it, then I want to, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. So give it a go. And as I said, boy, have I been annoying people with this today. So there we go. Recommended, guys. Recommended this one.
Cool.
Get on, John.
All right.
He says the wrecking ball scene is hilariously satisfying. Oh, and Ian as well. Oh, fair play. Oh, man, we got some love for this in the chat. Okay, good. Ian says, loved Strays, so funny. And Joseph says, great movie. Okay. All right, nice. Fair play. I assume he means this. He might mean Sisu.
Maybe.
Well, we'll take it for both.
Could be. Could be. Probably can't go wrong with either of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Judging by the sound of that. I love a humorous dog movie. Is it a tearjerker?
These are rated.
Is it?
Yeah. No, it's full of F words and F bombs. It's Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie Foxx.
So it's effing and blinding
I love Jamie Foxx.
the way through. Yeah, so you've got those two, and you've got Isla Fisher, and who's the guy that did his in WandaVision, who was the FBI agent with doing the magic tricks? What's his name?
Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
Randall Park? Is it Randall Park?
Yeah. Yes. That's what he's that guy, but I don't think it's his name.
Yeah,
but
he was in Ant-Man. Didn't he come from Ant-Man?
Yes.
That's where he got the magic from.
That's it, yeah. So of the four leads, you've got Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, him, and then Isla Fisher as a sort of lassie Aussie style, because she's an Aussie. And it is, as I said, it's very, very funny. So worth seeing, guys.
Cool. All right. This is a funny one. This is what I like about this show. You get an inspiration out of something, and then all of a sudden, and I can't wait to tell you the inspiration, but let's get it going here.
Randall Park.
Yep, Jordan Randall Park. Yep. All right. So.
We did this not too long ago, didn't we, DJ?
You and I did it. You and I did it on
way
chat
back on the other show.
Yeah, on the other show. I hadn't watched it. I didn't even own it. I was like, but I do like the movie. I didn't own it on Kaleidescape. So we had talked about it. Was it last week, Steve, that we brought it up?
Yeah, because Children of Men. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Children of Men, and I had referenced it with that. I'm like, oh, it's kind of the same storyline, post-apocalyptic of whatever happens. And so Jen and I are watching TV upstairs on Saturday in the living room, getting ready to decorate the house. And I don't know if you've seen the commercial. It's some perfume, but Charlize Theron getting out of a pool or something in all gold or something. I think it was like she walks out of a pool. And I just grabbed my phone and I was like, okie dokie, boom. She's like, what are you doing? I go, well, that's a sign right there. I go, first you got, I'm talking about AEon Flux on the show. And then you see Charlize Theron getting out of a pool. I'm like, I got to go watch it. So got my popcorn, went downstairs. Oh, that was the other thing. I saw it was like an hour and 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, we'll get to the decorations after this. And what I found out is this is the only place, I don't know, is it available in 4K HDR over there? Because it's not over here. And
I don't think so.
I didn't know that. And I'm watching it and it looked pretty good. There were some scenes that weren't as crisp as I would have hoped for. When I saw that it was in 4K HDR, I just took for granted that it got a release. And then I went on Blu-ray.com and I was like, no, it's not available over here. I don't know where it is available because it's not like, usually it's probably digital somewhere, 4K, but the sound was really good. The picture was pretty good. And I just like the story. It takes you about a half hour. I hadn't seen it in a little while since probably John and I talked about it a few years ago. And, but as the story picks up, you're like, oh, okay, here we go. But the imagery, it wasn't much to write home about at first until I realized I'm like, oh, this is in 4K and it's like the only place. And I'm like, okay. So I compared it to the Blu-ray and I'm like, oh, nice upgrade. Really nice upgrade. So, but yeah, if you're familiar with the story, if you're familiar with the disc, it's a fun watch. But if you can find the 4K or if it ever comes out in 4K, I would say if you like the story, grab it. If not, I didn't think the 4K upgrade was just like leaps and bounds, like we're going to talk about later in another movie. But it was a fun treat. It was just like your mind goes in a certain direction. You're like, I got to go down there. Okay, hey, it's like squirrel. Like,
is it a Sony disc? Is it a Sony disc? I don't know. I'm not sure. Whether it was Sony release
off the top of my head.
Yeah, I thought they used Eon. Didn't they use Eon Flux trailers for the Blu-ray trailers when Blu-ray first came out? Didn't they use some bits for that? I thought they did. But yeah, it's not available here in 4K. And it looks on Amazon as though the
where I bet it is, Steve?
Where's that?
You know where I bet it is?
Oh yeah, Sony Pictures Core.
Sony Core, yeah.
Bravia.
We should check that out. I didn't even think of that. Bravia Core. Well, I think it is Sony Core now on PS5.
Yeah.
But we should I didn't even think of that. We should check that out. I'll bet you that's where it is in 4K. And
Shall I look on the PlayStation Portal?
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Oh, man, we're bringing it all. We got all the tech going here.
All the gadgets.
Do I need to add a screen for that? So when Steve's not talking, we can have a screen going on what Steve's doing.
What's
John
Steve
and I are talking
now?
about our movie, and Steve's like, is it my turn
He's
yet?
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's charging.
So, yeah. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And I mean, it's an hour and a half, popped right through it. No problem. But yeah, it like I said, there wasn't anything to write home about. There wasn't any, all the scenes that from the movie that, it a little more vivid than I remembered it being, which was nice. Nice colors, stuff like that. The grass, the blades that were sharp and all the fun stuff, and the costumes, a little more detail there. I did notice in the eye, it's because that comes from the comic. It's not even a comic, is it, John? It's from the animated
from
series on
MTV.
MTV, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
she
an
catches
MTV production. Yeah.
The
Paul,
opening when
Paul
she catches it.
chat.
Yeah.
So so Paul says he'd be curious to see the old MTV animated version. Only ever saw bits of it.
Yeah. And there were only shorts too, I think, right?
Yeah, they were.
Even catching that
the fly
cartoon. Yeah.
Oh,
you kind of had
yeah,
to.
yeah.
But even just catching the episodes, I don't know if they were scheduled. They just played between music videos and stuff back when MTV played music videos.
Yeah, remember that?
See, guys, I was interested for a minute there, Deej. You had me interested and intrigued, and then Joe just to drop in with not my quote, like Fifth Element, but without the humour. Flipping heck. So there we go. Moving on.
It's a little different. It's completely different.
Poison the well now.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you never seen it, Steve?
No, and do you know what? I haven't.
You've never seen it? No.
It was in.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will. As I said, I remember it being forming part of the Sony Blu-ray trailer that played at the start of their discs, and I remember thinking it looked interesting. And Charlize Theron's great in most of the stuff she does. No, I haven't. It came out around the time where you had the Mila Jovovich type movies, and you had the kind of the underworld movies that I know you guys love. And I've only seen the first one, and I wasn't a massive fan. And they all kind of rolled into one at that time. And I think therefore I was like, well, it's just another one of those. But actually, I think it is more than that. And I will, if we get a decent Blu-ray release over here, I'll pick it up. Or if it's on streaming somewhere.
Check it out on the Sony Core. Check it out on the Sony Core, because if they have it in the 4K,
if it comes up, in
the theater. Well, I like the story to it too. I think the story separates it from all those other ones that you mentioned, because it's this one at the time it came out wasn't really cliche, right, John? Like now you might be like, wait a minute, how old is this? It's like almost 20 years old. I think it's 06 or something like that, if I remember right. So
I thought it was older than that.
It might be.
It might be.
Like I said, I don't know.
But
it's fun. It's fun.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Talk amongst yourselves. You ready to get, while you're doing that, we'll pop in 2000. See, that wasn't too far. So you were right, John. It is older than 2006.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I thought it was like 90. I thought it was older than that. I thought it was like
to be fair, Deej, to be fair, something we don't often touch on is how eerily accurate you are with year of release. You are very, very good. Yeah. The number of times I've been like, is it later? Is it earlier? And then I check and you are bang on.
It's funny because we always talk after the show about how accurate you are with that stuff.
I know.
And I'm just I'm going IMDb.
Well, here's the thing.
That's why.
Here's the thing. If I say it, I'm fairly confident that I'm in the ballpark. When it's the lack of silence, or not the lack of silence. It's the silence. It's like
the silence.
I don't just ballpark it. I don't just say I think it was that. I have to link it to something. So yeah.
In the 21st century,
I got a reason.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, you ready for this one? We don't have any of John's opinions on this one yet.
No, I know.
I'm interested to see if Steve's opinions have changed at all. So let's get to this. Yeah, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus in 4K, Atmos, great production quality, great home theater experience. I think. Steve said last week he'd like a few more monsters. Not sure if this week's out helped him at all. But go ahead, John.
Well, I was just going to say, not having listened to last week's show, I don't know what either of y'all's opinions on this are, but I'm finding it a bit of a slog right now to get through. I do think, like you said, DJ, the quality of it is Apple TV. You know, I mean, you're going to get good Atmos. You're going to get good pictures, good sound. But yeah, like Steve, I'd like a few more monsters in my Legacy of Monsters show.
There are going to be monsters in your park. Right?
Yeah. That's my screenshot from episode 1, which I think is the only real monsters we saw were on that bridge scene in episode 1. Which again is a little disheartening because it feels like they have not spared the dollar for this. Like they've put a lot of money into this show. So I would think there'd be more monsters floating around. But yeah, and I'm finding some of the I'm finding some of the flashback stuff to some of the flashback stuff to like the 50s a little bit tedious as well. So yeah, I don't know. Not enjoying it as much as I did all the films that I watched leading up to this. So I'm hoping that, what are we on, episode 4 now?
Three.
So
I think three just dropped. 4 is coming Friday.
4 is coming this week. Yeah, I'm up to date on it. So, but I'm hoping that the back half of this series will kind of pick up and we'll get some more here. But so seems like that's a bit what Steve is thinking as well. So
that's almost exactly what I said last week, John. Almost to the word. Even with I'd like a few more monsters in our Legacy of Monsters show, please. Okay. So but I have warmed to it a little bit more because I think episode 3 is better. I think it's still got some weird dialogue. And I don't buy Kurt Russell as a 90+ nonagenarian because he's clearly not. And what the hell is the point of it's just good genes, I guess. Like, I mean, what?
It's a joke.
That would have provoked throwing things at the screen if I'd seen that in the theater, I think.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
They're making fun of the entire idea.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like they know that they're playing that the viewer is supposed to play along. Like, looks like you're like 90 years old. You couldn't laugh at that and the fact that you had just said that in the show last week, and here it comes in the next episode where they forecasted this years ago when they wrote the script. They're like, guess what everybody's going to be thinking? Let's put it in there. And they're laughing at us. That's all. That's what I think is great.
Well, there was some clunky dialogue, but what I did enjoy more in this one, I mean, I liked again, we'll be careful with spoilers because there'll be those that haven't seen it, but there are more monsters in this, including the monster, who was nice to see, and especially bearing in mind having watched another film about things that we'll talk about later, which nicely I thought quite tied into this. So having sort of started a 3-hour movie about some of the things that is raised in this, and then seeing this thing emerge from the water and then be, right alongside it was quite fun. And I thought, okay, well, that's quite good. And seeing them all sat in their deck chairs on the beach was quite fun. And I will love anything that shows me Godzilla. So, that was cool. And it did look quite nice because it's broad daylight as well. So that was quite good. And the ending was okay. Not too bad. It was more enjoyable than, but I think I enjoyed it more because this was just the one episode. I think where I got bored was seeing episode 1 and 2 back to back, whereas this was just kind of, was it 48 minutes, 49 minutes, and then it's kind of done. So I think perhaps smaller, shorter episodes actually helps with this. But I agree with you, John. I think the backstory is silly. I think it is a bit dull. And the problem is what they seem to be trying to establish with the 1950s stuff is this great mystery about these creatures. But we as viewers know they exist. Right. We know where they come from as well, from Godzilla versus Kong. So there's no mystery to us as an audience. So I don't quite understand why they're spending so much time on this mystery for the characters, because we as an audience are years ahead of those characters. So that's a bit weird. And I think that makes it a bit of a slog because of that. But I am warming to it more. I'm enjoying it more in these short doses than having to sort of sit through loads of it. But, what do you think, Deej? Liking it more or less than last week after episode 3?
I don't think I could like it
all the same.
more.
Sorry, all the same. Sorry.
It's about the same. It's like what I expected. And I just think with shows like this, they're damned if they do, if they're damned if they don't. If they just trotted out monsters 3 episodes in a row, you'd be like, we get this in the movies. What are we doing here? Can I get a little bit more backstory? So people, it might not be you guys that say that, but people would be going in both directions. And the other thing is, like you said, like they might have spent the money, but it's how long's the series? 8 episodes, something like that? Whatever, 6, 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. So the money might be coming. Those special effects cost a lot of money. And the fact that we're not getting them, I mean, look at a typical feature film. How many minutes of that movie are CGI'd, even in the MonsterVerse, right? So it's like, take that amount, and that's only a roughly 2-hour film. This is 8, roughly, maybe 6, 7 hours if they're a little less than an hour, right? So we're probably going to get more monsters here than you get in a typical film, but it feels like more in the film because it's 2 hours. You sit down, you get to the story. It's boom, boom, boom. They're trying to develop a universe here. They're trying to develop a world, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's like the fact that you think it's a slog, I think is funny that you're like, well, we know where they came from. Yeah, they know we all know everything. They're going to change it on us. They're going to tell us this is how they originated or this is what they're going to give us something we haven't had before. I, too, will be very disappointed at the end of episode 8 if it's all exactly the same that we already knew. Pretty sure they're smarter than us and that. Not smarter than us, but just smart enough to go, they're going to be creative enough to give us something that we haven't seen before. And this is, you're like, you know, like John, it is who John is. He's the microwave guy. I want it now. I want it now. And it's like, you know, and then when you get it, you're like, well, that was too quick. It's like, oh, what the hell?
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm really enjoying it. And the chat's going back and forth. We have people on both sides of the fence in there. Stephen at Jordan, Van Gool's on your side, Stephen at there. You know, but I mean, the fun thing is I mean, it is fun, and it is absolute water cooler talk. And that's what's fun. To me, that's what's fun about it. Like when John and I were all alone doing chat, at least we had those episodes that it came up. Remember, John, we used to argue. You and John was the guy that never wanted it episodic. Just drop it all, give it all to me at once, because he wanted to watch the Netflix series like on a Sunday afternoon. And I was like, no, I like this week to week, and you get to sit down and tease it out, and we'd go back and forth. And now you see the different streamers are starting to mix it up all over the place. Yeah. And I think this is fun. You know, it's like week to week, we got something to talk about, and it doesn't matter if we agree or not. It's fun. And I think at the end, we'll all be like, okay, I see where the money went. I'd be surprised if we aren't. So,
yeah,
I mean, absolute home theater must see.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's great.
Like I said, I'm definitely still in. So, and I have faith, you know, that it will be good by the end. But like I said, I found the beginning to be a little tedious. So,
yeah, which is not what you expect from Kurt and Wyatt Russell either. Right. You know, I mean, these guys so used to, well, certainly Kurt Russell anyway. I mean, I normally just watch him do anything.
Tango and Cash was a heartbeater.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, and I love
no one insult Tango and Cash.
I love the use of both of them, you know, in here for the same character. And I hope that we see more of that. You know, like I said, the rumor is that we're going to get an Equalizer prequel, and they're going to use John David Washington to be the Equalizer character. And you know, as we get more celebrity, you know, father and son, mother and daughter duos, I hope they do more of that, because I enjoy it more than the de-aging process that they do. Like, I think this is better than trying to de-age Kurt Russell, you know, to play both
it's
parts.
more fun too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like we were talking last week, weren't we, Deej, about Wyatt Russell is clearly doing an impression of his dad.
Yeah,
in the way he delivers lines and the way he the way he walks as well. And that's fun. You know, and who better to do an impression of you that's seen you every single day growing up? And I think that's hilarious. It must have been so much fun for Kurt Russell watching it, either on set or you know, watching it back, thinking that's
we
my
do that
mannerism.
anyways.
Yeah,
we do that anyways with our. You know, we emulate our parents, and I saw it in hockey over and over. I coached with this guy for like 15 years. His son was on the team for like 15 years, same age as Joe. And the guy I was coaching with, he had a bad accident on a motorcycle. So his arm was like, he had a dead arm. So when you're playing hockey, he could use the stick, but he couldn't really do much. So he could just grab the stick, but that was about it. But when he skated, now this is the coach. He was the head coach. If he had to get going fast, he would tuck his arm in on his side so it didn't flop around. And the other hand was his top hand on the stick, so he'd just go. And it was year after year, his son would go off on a breakaway, and he would tuck his arm in. and he's yelling from the bench, "Stop ducking your damn arm!" He's yelling at him, and I kept reminding him, like, he's doing you. He skates just like you, and it was so funny. So it's like, and for hockey, for something like you barely see your father do, but a handful of times, right? But you emulate that. Imagine how much we're already emulating just day-to-day stuff. So it was, but yeah, I'm wondering, I wanted it off of that, Steve. I'm wondering how much Kurt Russell is trying to emulate his son too. Like they're trying to meet in the middle.
Oh, you reckon? I don't know. He just,
you know what I mean? Like even as a respect, like I'll try to be like him a little bit here. Cause to be fair, it's like in the storyline, it's the younger one grew up to be the older one. So you would have that mishmash in the middle. And I would think that if it was me and Joe, I would think, not that we look like those two do, but I would be trying to emulate him too. In a way.
I don't know. I think Kurt is Kurt, and he's like, "You follow my lead, boy." I don't think it goes the other way.
There are definite echoes. I mean, if you've seen The Thing as many times as I have, you've seen Big Trouble in Little China as many times, and even Tango and Cash.
I love Kurt Russell.
It's a different role. He is absolutely doing an impression. I mean, the way he's delivering dialogue, the way he lets his arms
the straight lip
go.
Yep.
Yeah. He is.
He's nailing the straight
brilliant.
lip. He's doing the laughter.
Right.
He's doing like the side. It's almost like a side eye because it's like Kurt Russell's got that. I mean, it's just that he's got the sarcasm, which of course, his son's going to have anyways. But it's the glances. It's so great.
Yeah, just the cadence of the dialogue, or even down to that. You can see.
I wonder how
the
much
family.
is natural too.
Well, yeah. Well, you can see the family kind of. You can see this family that they've grown up together. Right? Just all written on the screen, or just put up on the screen. I think it's great, and that is my favorite bit of it so far. Just watching him do his dad is just very funny. It's great.
Yeah, that's great. All right, this next one is this the first viewing for you, John? This next
it
one?
is. You stole a little bit of my thunder there, but
sorry. All right, everybody.
I was just going to say,
what I just said.
Yeah, I'm the last guy in any universe to have seen this movie. But this is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Picked up the 4K disc on sale the other day. All right, buckle up, guys, because I'm also probably the only guy in the universe where this movie was a steaming pile of crap. Like, I really hated this movie. I do not get it. I do not get the hype. I really didn't like this movie at all. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was that funny, but okay. I don't know what else to say about it. I really didn't like it.
It's the enthusiasm in your voice that's so awesome. Because like you could have loved this movie, and you would have been like, all right, I'm the last one to see this, and like everybody else would say, like it's just fantastic. I mean, I just love the story. It's great. It's a great home theater experience. I mean, what else can you really say?
No, I was pretty excited to say that it was a steaming pile of crap.
You were like, your enthusiasm knows no bounds when you hate something.
Maybe Steven. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get the hype. I just really didn't like this movie. I didn't enjoy it at all.
Really?
I understand I get the technical things. I love these switching aspect ratios, and I liked all the technical stuff, and it's a good disc. I mean, as far as the disc itself, it's solid disc, great Atmos, picture, all that stuff. But I don't know. I did not like this movie. So
was it what you were expecting, John? Or not?
I wasn't expecting anything, to be honest with you, because I really didn't know much about this movie. Obviously, I knew it was a multiverse, kind of time travel movie. Everybody knew that kind of, but I didn't have any expectations because I really didn't know that much about it. So it wasn't necessarily it didn't let me down or any, in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I just found it to be so silly, and I don't know. Like I said, I know I'm out there alone because obviously it won Best Picture, and a lot of people love it, but I did not. So,
I mean, it's definitely a unique movie. I mean, there's nothing else similar to this. I mean, bear in mind it's a multiverse movie, and everyone thinks they now know what they are. Bear in mind the number we've had. So it is utterly unique, and I think whenever you have something that's utterly unique, there are absolutely people completely understandably who go, that is too unique. That's just too out there, and it's not speaking to me at all. And I think large portions of this are a bit like that. The donut thing's all a bit odd, and I think there are some some things in
bagel,
this.
it was a bagel, right? Wasn't
bagel,
it?
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
bagel,
It disappears up its own backside a little bit.
Right.
But I found, and as I said, I remember talking to you, Deej, about your the Rockstar savings.
I have no problem with bombardment of marital devices, John.
I think we've just found the title of John Sacconi's autobiography.
That's right.
No problem with the bombardment of marital devices. John Sacconi's. So
R.I.P. Thought this movie was a steaming pile of crap.
Oh man! But I think I certainly, Deej, we spoke, didn't we, about that? I find the opening 10, 15 minutes fantastically stressful, and I find that really hard to watch. It's not unwatchable in the wrong way. It's unwatchable or hard to watch in the right way because it's very, very stressful, and I find my anxiety rising and my heart rate increasing during that bit. But it also, though, then has, I love the rocks. I love that silent scene of two rocks just talking. And I thought that was beautiful. And it's funny in a movie with so much madcap action and so much craziness, and again, bombardment of marital devices. It's that stillness that I come back to that spoke to me more than anything else, and I really loved that. Again, we talked about Barbie and that it reached the level of the profound, and those little bits for me did, and everything else is kind of just going around with it. But I get it. I mean, absolutely. Anything that's unique and it's different can be too unique. And I'd say that about The Fifth Element, to take the comment there. I mean, I think that's too unique. It's too idiosyncratic. It's ridiculously stupid, I think. But I know lots of people obviously think the other way. And so I think they are similar. I think probably actually the comment about The Fifth Element might be closer than we realize because that's another film that's off the wall and does its own thing and isn't afraid to be different. Too different for some of us.
I will say, like, I thought Michelle Yeoh and I can't think of
Yi Kwan.
Yeah, they were great. Like I thought they were both excellent. I had no problem with the production or the acting, the quality. It just didn't speak to me at all.
Exactly.
It just really didn't like it.
And that's fine. Like Jordan has it summarized well here. It's like it wouldn't be an A24 film if it didn't have, divisive reactions with audiences. But that's the point. It's like it's a great, like you said, John, great production, great home theater experience. But what sold this for so many people was the story, and it spoke to them in a way that you were like, oh my God, I've thought the same thing, like that scene with the rocks and stuff. And you're like, how they did it in such a creative way. But if that doesn't speak to you, you're not going to get any of that. And that's not on you, right? It's just, that's fine. Right. But it's like, but when you do, and that's what's so much fun about stuff like this is like, to both of your point, like it's out there. It's like when something's out there, but you find a relationship with it, you go, holy crap, I love that. I can't believe they got so creative with something I've been thinking too. Like The Matrix did that for a lot of people because a lot of people, like that was the tagline, remember? Like, did you ever think if like, what's reality, what isn't real? And people walked out of there going, I just got to talk to somebody. I got to do it. But other people like, that was dumb. What the hell? Right. And it was so, and it's like when you do something that's so out there, but it speaks to people, they're going to love it because it's so out there. And you're like, you can relate to it. But then when you can't, you feel like you're letting everybody down. So I don't think you hated this as much as like some movies you maybe really have hated, but you're like, how can I not like this? Everybody's loving it. I don't get it. And it's, you know what I mean? Like the home theater experience is great. Like Evil Dead Rise,
Right.
I don't get that. It does not speak to me. I get the home theater part of it, but but then when you get bombarded with it's the greatest movie ever, you're like, what am I missing here? You know, so it makes it feel like I don't hate it. I just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm fine to be on my island with this. I don't know that I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, honestly. Like, it's not even one of those ones where I think, oh, if I watch it again, maybe it'll change my opinion. I just don't think it will. I mean, I own it now, so I can't say I'll never watch it again, but I don't see myself sitting down to watch it. Anytime soon, anyways.
You haven't ordered a lot of googly eyes from Amazon to put all around the store?
No, I have not. I have not.
I mean, the good news is if you sell memorabilia in the store, just go out into the parking lot, grab a couple of rocks, put the googly eyes on them, and just say they're props.
They're props from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Deej liked it so much, he's got a rock in his own cinema, his own theater.
That's my thermal detonator.
Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, it's multi-purpose memorabilia.
It's multi-purpose, multiverse piece.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Are we ready to get to this one? John, you haven't seen this yet at all.
I don't remember what it is. So
yeah, he saw it in the cinema. He saw it in the theaters.
Okay. You saw it in the theaters. We'll bring it up. Let me get it up.
About?
Yeah, you've seen Oppenheimer, haven't you?
Oh, I have seen it. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't picked it up yet. I know I'm one of the few that don't own it yet, but.
Well, apparently, if rumor is to be,
a lot of people don't own it yet because it's really hard to get.
Yeah. Universal themselves put out a statement today saying, "We know you can't get it. We're trying to get these retailers restocked, but it's still freely available here. You can
really because I did check Amazon last night, and it's 3 weeks out. I think is what they say. Yeah. So
my Walmart has it now, and yeah, Best Buy had it. Walmart had it. I tweeted, who was it today that we were talking about it? And he was saying, like, on the shelf, he's like, it looked like Expendables 4 was outselling Oppenheimer. And I'm like, that's not that. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what it was. Jason. I mean, I love the guy. I mean, but I'm like, that's not the case. They're just not restocking the shelf for Expendables 4, but they are like, they're restocking.
Or they got 3
as fast
copies
as they
and they got, they got 90 of this, you know what I mean?
I know at my Walmart, I was trying to buy this before the show last week, and I went in at 10 a.m. and they're like, they were all gone before 9 o'clock a.m.
Wow.
He goes, but we're getting more in at 1, 2 o'clock. And that would have been too late for me anyways. But they got them in that day. They got their next shipment that day. They were back on the shelf by 2, 3 o'clock, and they've been going off the shelves ever since. But they're just everybody's trying to keep it stocked as much, which is great.
I can't wait to see what the 4K retail splits like with these between 4K, Blu-ray, and DVD. I think it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be a watershed title, this one. Yeah. Okay. So
what did you think on your first viewing?
Wow. I mean, it's how long have you got? Deej?
Well, we know you've got an hour.
You're the one with the deadline. I did a 24-hour podcast. Okay. Ball's in your court, pal.
Okay, so a little bit now. I've got to have a little bit of a mea culpa here because last week I said that I would sit and watch this in one. I was not able to do that. I could not get 3 hours free when I wasn't on my deathbed or wasn't, on call or doing a million other things. So I had to watch it. Please don't shout at me, in 3 sittings. I'm sorry to say. However,
an hour each?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, it was about 45 minutes, 45, and then the remaining hour and a half today. So I've got lots to say about this film. An awful lot to say, but if I could just summarize it in a single word, stunning is how I would refer to it. Absolutely stunning. It's hard to say because there's so much you can say about this film in terms of the film, and we'll talk about the audio and video. It is incredible, and it is a Christopher Nolan film in every single frame. It is dripping Christopher Nolan from second one. And I think personally, even if I didn't know he directed it, you showed me any frame of this, I go, well, that's Chris Nolan. Because it is him through and through. I really, really enjoyed it in terms of I was entertained from second one. I just about kept up with it. I was never lost, which is, and bear in mind, I knew nothing about this other than nuclear bomb, the Manhattan Project, and, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, and Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That was my Oppenheimer knowledge done because I didn't know anything else about it. And so I was able to keep track of the story. I could tell who was who. Luckily, I think that's because of the famous faces. So I'm glad it's an all-star cast, so you can then kind of relate them to their names. And so I was never lost. I was never bored. I was thoroughly entertained throughout the story. I'm not sure I could watch it twice in one day, Deej. But I was thoroughly entertained with it and thought it was, as I said, absolutely stunning. And what a cinematic achievement. Feel a little bit sorry for Florence Pugh. Not sure why it is at pretty much every scene she has to be topless. Didn't quite figure that out, unless there's something in the book.
Part of the story.
Well, unless there's something in the book
it's part
that
of the
says
story.
every time he met Jean, she was half naked. But it did seem a little bit unnecessary at times. But that's a minor quibble. I just felt, but there it is. But
I had that discussion with my son-in-law too, because he didn't like it. He's like, "What the heck?" And I'm like,
it was a bit exploitative.
That was the point, I think.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that was the point. I think they were trying to, as best that he could, I think Nolan was trying to portray the womanizer that Oppenheimer was, right?
Yeah.
That these people, like, there were times in this movie where you were like, okay, he's got the best intentions. And there's other times where you're like, he's just evil. Or then he's a womanizer. He's a very complex person. And I think that's what they were going for in there, because the one thing I know, or what I believe, is Nolan doesn't do anything just to be dramatic. He does it for a purpose, to the story. Every shot is for the story. And that's how I see that, is that he, and then that relationship that he promised her a certain thing, right? And then it's how there's just, like you said, there is so much to this movie. And it's like the chain reaction part. And I've explained that before. It's like how the beginning of the movie is the end of the movie. But then in the middle of the movie, the story of it's a chain reaction and it could destroy the world. Did they destroy the world? Did they set it? It's an amazing story. We have a lot of people in the chat talking instead of just putting up but people like, I have it. I've seen it. I love it. I haven't seen it. I have it on Kaleidescape. Blah, 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 blah. If you have it on Kaleidescape, get the disc. The way to see this, I hate to say it, is on the disc. To me, it's the variable aspect ratio. It is part of the story. I watched it last week. I watched it twice last Tuesday on Kaleidescape and streaming, which is just the 220. But going to the disc and seeing the scenes jump and the clarity that you're getting out of those IMAX scenes. I'm at 110 inches. What are you, Steve? 77, 75, something like that? 77 inches.
Yeah.
75. It's when they go relatively full screen, which, to be fair, it's not a huge jump. You're going from 220 to full. So your black bars aren't even that big to begin with. It's not like you went from 240 to a full screen. It is very poignant every time it's done. And especially those black and white shots, and just seeing their full image on the screen. And to me, I thought the brightness in the room, because when they go to the full screen, it's like you're seeing more background and stuff. And just look at the depth in the windows, or lack thereof, because the way they're shooting this, the aperture and everything, it's like those windows are just washed out in the background, but their faces, the detail that they're grabbing with those cameras. Oh my God. It's just, I can't watch this movie enough, because every time I watch it, I see and hear something new. And the story is a story. I love the story, because I do think it mirrors Barbie in a way that I never, ever expected. And that's a whole other Barbenheimer discussion. but I love it.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I do want to do it in 1 3-hour sitting. I do want to do that. I'm looking forward to doing that. It doesn't, as you said last week, it doesn't feel 3 hours. It doesn't feel time. It's the sense of urgency. This is like a Swiss watch, and especially post the Trinity test. After that test, this thing like seems to be at the top of a ski slope, and it just goes like that. And that last hour in particular is like is just a ticking bomb after the bomb of this.
On your next viewings, pay attention to the sound and the score and how that keeps you going. It's like, so when now that you know the story on your second, third viewings, start to pay attention to those things. And some of the rumbles, and you'll be like, you'll realize how early on they start that part in the movie. And you're like, when you find out where it comes from, you're like, oh my God, it makes sense. It really, oh my God. It's crazy. But yes, Carl in the chat, no, it's not variable aspect ratio on Kaleidescape. It's the 240. They got the stream. So whatever the stream is, that's what they're getting. I'm hoping someday maybe Kaleidescape will get the full version. But I was talking with people this week. I'm reconsidering, like in my new theater, I'm definitely putting in a media player of some sort for movies like this, right? I don't know if it'll be as a PD or a Zune or whatever, but it'll probably only have like 20, 30, maybe 50 movies on it, but something that I don't have to keep getting up and put the disc in. Because this one here, this is the preferred view for me. I know some people don't like variable aspect ratios. This movie here, I love it. Absolutely.
I mean, it's been built around variable aspect ratio. So if the idea is to see it the way the director intended, you need to see it like this. So the film is complex, it's dense, but it's accessible. I think it's accessible in a way that Tenet was not. Tenet kind of almost seemed to be an exercise in confusion, and I didn't vibe with that. I've still only seen it once, so I'll see it again eventually. But this is a very, very well made movie, and I did, as I said, never less than entertained. I see what people were going on about. It's very, very cleverly done. And in terms of the audio video, I mean, we talked about the aspect ratios. I mean, it's very Nolan. You know, when you get the IMAX stuff, it's 3-dimensional like you can't imagine. I mean, it looks fantastic. At no point was I taken out of the film by any kind of stuff. There is some flickering in it, which I think is deliberate. It must be deliberate because it doesn't stay. So you get, which I think is evoking the time. I think it's evoking film and trying to show and do that. So you do get a bit of flickering in the image, but as I said, I think it's deliberate because it comes and goes. And so that looks great. And that stuff you were saying, Deej, about the point of focus between close in where, forehead's out of focus, eye is in focus, nose is in focus, ear is out of focus is fascinating in and of itself. And is showing discombobulation in the character, the confusion in what's going on is reflected in the focus, which was really well done. The audio is awesome and really good. It is not a sub killer. I agree. Wherever I saw that, it's not as uncontrolled.
It's great bass, but it's right.
But it's not. Whereas Halloween Ends, which is another Universal disc, is uncontrolled, unfettered bass. It's just, we're going to hammer you with this, and we don't care whether it fits the story or not. If Halloween Ends is at 12 out of 10, this is at 10, and it's strong and it's deep, but it's controlled. And at no point did my subs rattle, which is good news because that means they were handling it. And boy, was it deep. The whole room is a sphere of violence and movement and motion, but in the right way. So I thought the audio was great as well. So it is fantastic. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I don't know when that's going to be because trying to get 3 hours is very, very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it another time, but it's going to be a while away. But yeah, it's great.
It is. And the again, to reiterate the audio, it's also the use of the silence, right? In those where they keep doing the tests and the gap because they keep telling you the distance, and then pay attention. Even it's not a spoiler. There's explosions and sound travels slower than light. So you pay attention to that as the movie goes on, because you'll get the boom, and it pays off because they'll be like, you'll see it go, and then they're all just staring, and he takes all the sound out of the movie, and you're just sitting there in dead silence, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's awesome. I mean, awesome use of sound. I mean, I like you said, Steve, it's like, how long you got? I could talk for hours on this. We're gonna have to do
and I could too, and absolutely. But it's a must see. It's a must own. I mean, it's a movie that will define this year, and with everything that at the time this was coming out going on in Ukraine, and for many of us, this became a little bit more real. And the closing, the denouement of the film is a direct plea, I think, to modern governments and modern sensibilities, and we've all come a little bit, closer than we would like to have done in the last 18 months or so as a result of what's been going on.
Yeah.
So it's got an added poignance. Whereas I think had this come out in 2021, I mean, obviously pandemic notwithstanding, I think this would have had a different resonance. I think a lot of people would have seen this as, well, this is a historical film about historical issues, and we're not bothered about this anymore because nuclear non-proliferation is established. We don't need to worry about any of that. Whereas now I think it's very, very prescient and very poignant and has an extra kind of meaning to it. So, yeah, it's really good, really good. John, you enjoyed it, didn't you? Sorry.
I did, yes. I think, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. I think the film is it's hard to throw around the word masterpiece, right? Because, but it's a great film. But for me, like the watchability is a little bit more limited than for you guys, I guess. Like I definitely will buy the disc. I definitely will watch the disc. I find it's just a heavy, it's not something I want to revisit a lot. Like I just won't watch this once a week or twice in a day, or like I'll have to carve out 3 hours where I've got the right frame of mind to sit down and watch it again. Because like I said, I find it pretty heavy. It's a Schindler's List kind of thing, where you just don't want to watch them all the time. But I take nothing away from the film. Like it's fantastic. And I saw it in not the best theater. Like I didn't go to IMAX. I didn't see it in the Dolby or anything. So Dolby, I guess, doesn't matter, but and it was still great in the theaters. I can only imagine at home, what the experience is like, but yeah, it just won't be one that I watch over and over and over again. But I will own it, and I definitely will watch it again.
I mean, talking about theaters, John, I feel sorry for those that only saw it in 70 millimeter. I mean, I saw it in 75 inches, so mine was better, obviously.
Right, exactly.
I was going to put that joke on Twitter, and then I thought I'd get shouted at.
Yeah.
I wasn't risking that. Twitter would come for me.
They might. Well, then it might push you out of the secret screening too. So
well, quite. Yeah. Chris Nolan waiting with a machete behind the door. Yeah.
See, I look at it differently. And I said it right after I saw the movie, and people questioned me on it. I said it on Twitter. Friends were like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, I find it as it's a positive, because of what this is about. Is that we've, like you said, like everything that's going on in the world today. This isn't new. This is, and like that's what I love about this movie. It's like if you haven't seen it yet, when you realize what happens at the beginning and at the end, you realize that like when something happens to you, you're not the first person in the world this happened to, right? And it's like these things go on, and somehow we're stupid, and it comes back around. But it's like, yeah, we're gonna make mistakes again, but the idea of that, it's good does prevail, and look at what happens in the world. We go through bad times, we get good times. And I went back and forth with this, and it's like, look at what happened, World War II, blah, 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 blah. Everybody after that in this country anyways, it's like everybody loved each other, blah, blah, blah. And then on the downside of that, you end up in the 60s with all of the what do you call it, protests and everything going on, right? Well, then and I've brought this up. I'm like, look at what happened. It's almost like clockwork. We had 9/11. We had all of this love in this country, and now we're on the backside of it, and it's almost like clockwork, how things progress. And it's a lot of this, and that's what I love about this movie is it is human nature. It is who we are. And to see it and to learn from history, you might not necessarily not repeat it, but maybe you can be aware of it so that you can we maybe do it differently. And that's what I take from it. And it's like, I think the world's better today than it was 1,000 years ago. And I think it'll be better 1,000 years from now. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. And I think that's what this movie is trying to show. And I think that's why like John uses the word masterpiece, because it does speak to multiple generations of like, that's basically what old people say. You have no idea. I've been through it, right? And now we have a movie like this where you're like, pay attention, people, because it's like, oh, I love that. The ending of this is just, to me, stunning. So,
I think the ending is a warning, though. I think this is a warning. And that's how only after one viewing. I didn't quite read it as positive. I read it as this is a warning to you all. Remember what we are capable of and what we can do if. But yeah, I get it. Yeah. I can't wait to talk more about it with you guys when we've seen it more. And I've had a chance to
next time
digest
when John
it more.
sees the home, we should just do like a whole show on it.
After John so easy
sees
to
it
do.
at home, and then we'll be able to tear it apart, have fun with, not tear it apart, but you know what I mean? Yeah, so much fun. But things went boom. Oh God, yeah, we could. I mean, I think everything that look at the popularity of it too. I mean, it's speaking to everybody to get to what we were talking about before, one way or the other, right? And such a great Christmas movie.
Yeah, is it a holiday film?
Let's see.
Did we work that out?
No. Yeah,
it's got Christmas trees in it.
Does it? I forget that.
There is a Christmas party in it. Yeah. When Kenneth Branagh turns up.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yep.
Christmas movie.
That's right. Yep. There you go. All right, John. Time for you to bring us something a little bit more uplifting. Hopefully,
talk about one extreme to another,
like your last one.
I don't know what it is. I can't see it. So.
There you go. Can you see it now?
No.
Can you see it now? Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, I say, what am I talking about? Super Mario Brothers. All right, so another disc I picked up on sale last week. Had not seen this movie. This was a first-time viewing for me. Bought it really solely based on Steve's profuse admiration for this movie. You do not need to get under the desk. I'm just going to be totally honest. I watched this Tuesday while you guys recording, and I was not feeling well at all. And I did doze through a little bit of the middle of this movie. So I will have to go back and watch it again. But I found this super fun. I think the disc is fantastic on this. Like this, of course, it's animated, so animated discs always tend to look great in 4K. This is no exception. I mean, this looked awesome, super colorful, super crisp, really looks good. I thought the sound was very well done, and I thought this was a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't know that I loved it as much as Steve did. but and like I said, I will have to go back and revisit it because I did doze through a chunk of the middle of this, but yeah, I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a lot of fun. Definitely worth picking up. If you're an adult and you don't have anybody age appropriate, don't worry. You can still watch it and still have a good time. Anybody that grew up, Well, and anybody of our age that grew up playing these games, there's so much nostalgia here that just hits. Like seeing some of these things acted out that, you remember kind of playing in the game was super fun. I had no idea like that the Donkey Kongs, like I didn't realize this was more of a Nintendo verse movie. And some of the other franchises were also part of this. But yeah, like I said, a lot of fun. I really liked it. And I think the disc is awesome. Really, really good.
Yeah.
I was kind of picturing you, John, in your sort of Yoshi onesie with your with the hood up, with your bowl of cereal.
I did.
Kind of,
I had my hot toddy, and I was.
Yeah. Did you see the Kong fight where Mario encounters Kong for the first time?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, I did.
That's one of the standout sequences.
Yeah, I saw most of it. Like I said, there was about 15 minutes or so where I don't know how they got into how they all got back to Earth, like for a better term.
Yeah.
They were all in Mario World, and then all of a sudden they were on Earth, and I don't know how that happened. And then I saw the ending, so I'll have to watch it again like I said, to catch that. But I did see most. Like I said, I saw most of it, and I had like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. A really good time.
It's a short movie. It's inoffensive.
It is. It's about 90 minutes.
When you're feeling like crap, this is your movie. To
definitely hit the spot. If you need something to put you to sleep, so you can. No, just kidding.
Whiskey.
Yeah, just kidding.
That's what the podcast is for.
That's right. I should have put the YouTube stream on. I would have slept through the whole thing.
I know,
man. Oh, meow.
Just kidding. Just joking, boys.
You'll remember this for next time.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Periodically, Deej, we'll just have to shout, "John, wake up!" really loudly.
Yeah.
You agree with me in what? In what aspect?
The movie. I thought it was a great home theater experience, and like Van Gool saying in the chat, and a lot of other people are saying, it's like it'll really show off your display. I mean, the colors are just it looks
it's
3D.
awesome.
I mean, it looks awesome. The sound is really good. I didn't think the sound was as good as Sonic 2, but it just didn't have the scenes that Sonic 2 had that you were like, oh my God, they had a couple of really nice demo scenes in that.
Right.
But the story, I was like, okay, all right. I just like it wasn't like, and I didn't fall asleep. I was entertained. It is a short viewing, but I wasn't sick. But I do remember being like, well, it's not like, movie of the year. I'm like, it's just, I was like, it was fun. I'm looking
remember you having
to,
that,
like, grandchildren.
I remember you saying that back then too. When you guys were talking about it, I remember you had the same opinion then. So yeah. And again, this will be fun to watch with the grandchildren for sure. I think I'll definitely get some multiple viewings out of this. So.
I mean, it's one of Universal's billion-dollar movies this year, next to Oppenheimer, and movies like that where they've had an absolutely
storming. Is that from this year?
Yeah.
Is that 2023?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like it was last
March.
year.
Yeah, no,
wow.
It was a long time ago, but it was this year.
Jeez. Oh, wow. Gee, well, life's flying by here. Or it's not, because it was just this year.
Right. Life dragging on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. You ready for this, Steve? You can see, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Another holiday classic.
Yep. So for this week's holiday movie, I went for, and obviously because it was Thanksgiving, at least for you guys over the pond, the absolute, it's becoming an overused phrase, 24-karat solid gold classic. That is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on 4K Blu-ray, although not really sure it needed to be, and DTS HD 5.1. Guys, there's no argument that this is a classic, is there? It's not 5 stars, it's 6 stars, isn't it? This is a
I talked about
film,
that in today's show, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I haven't seen it in years, but it's infinitely quotable.
I hadn't seen it quite a long time.
Those aren't pillows. Either. Everybody knows, it's
I use
heartfelt.
It's one of John Hughes's best, I would say. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This, I think it's absolutely incredible. And yes, it's a bit of a wider George family movie, including even my parents, who absolutely adored this film. Even that scene, which was a little bit uncomfortable watching in 1987 when I was 14, when that scene happens and they didn't like swearing in the house. That raised some eyebrows, but it didn't put them off, and it was, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So a perfect film that I've seen many, 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 many times. And I hadn't, and I bought the 4K Blu-ray last year. I think it was last year, and I hadn't seen it. I meant to, and then I didn't get around to watching it. So it's a great film, and it still holds up. Interestingly, this version has the deleted scenes. There are loads of deleted scenes. Now, I did not have a chance to watch them, which is a shame because I hear there are subplots. There are extra bits. There's quite a bit.
I watched them actually.
Oh,
one of the one of the very few times I ever watch special features. There's whole subtexts that are cut out of this movie that when you see those deleted scenes, because there's, and now that I say that, I'm struggling to remember exactly which ones, but I watched them right after we watched the film and I'm like, oh man, that scene makes a lot more sense now. Like for instance, when he's in the shower, right? He goes in the shower and then he looks out and the bathroom is wrecked, right? Well, you're under the impression, didn't you see that when you walked in? Like, where was all that mess when you walked into the shower? There's a whole scene that happens that explains why that bathroom looks the way it does. There's lots of things that were shaved for time or cut out that actually make it a better film because it explains some things that, you don't even realize that they were incomplete until you see the deleted scenes. But yeah, there's a lot there that is well worth it. There's a little over an hour's worth of deleted scenes. And some of them are just gags that run a little too long and they're not all great. But a couple of them really do add some, again, the whole thing with the pizza guy and, them getting robbed and like why that all came about. It all makes a lot more sense when you see those. So definitely go back and watch them.
Yeah, I've got to because again, this is awesome. So I watched it again, and I love every frame of this film, and it flies by. It's absolutely incredible. So now, lots and lots of people in the chat, lots and lots of people online are saying how bad the 4K disc looks, mainly because of how soft it is, and it is soft. I would say for most of this, when you're watching it, you could be watching the Blu-ray and you wouldn't really miss much to it.
Yeah.
I don't care because it's planes, trains, and automobiles. As long as it's not in black and white, I'm happy with it. And it looked amazing on the big screen, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it still sounds great. The audio is not bad because, of course, it's upmixed. So there is some extra width across the front of the stage. The music's wider. Everything does have more envelopment to it. But you're not watching this really for the audio, really. And so I really enjoyed it. I had a great time seeing it again. It is an absolute bona fide classic. And as I said, I quote this all the time as well. To people that I know well, the number of times, I've said, get your lazy ass, get that thing up in the back. The number of times. and so it's, it's great. I absolutely love this film. So, and can I recommend the 4K disc? Yes, for the extras. Because of the the deleted scenes, so I don't think they're on the Blu-ray. If they're on the Blu-ray, get the Blu-ray. But if not, then this is the version to get. And I'm sure it's very reasonably priced now because it wasn't expensive when it came out.
I got it for like $12 a couple weeks ago. And I don't own the Blu-ray, so I can't speak to the quality of that. But nothing in this film bothered me. Like when I watched it this week, I didn't have any issues with the picture at all. Honestly, it's not
it's soft.
It's not Super Mario Brothers or Oppenheimer or anything like that.
Right.
But nothing bothered me at all. Like I had heard all that stuff too. Actually put me off of buying it for a little while. But then I was like, I just have to own this movie, and for $12, it'll cost me that to buy the Blu-ray anyways. And I did want to see those deleted scenes. So,
I still did notice some things I hadn't seen before. And again, bearing in mind how many times I've seen it, things like when they get out of the bed after the two pillows thing, That hell of a game. And when they're doing that, what I didn't realize is that John Candy's got bits of popcorn stuck to his pajama bottoms.
Yeah. I saw that too.
Which I've never noticed.
Oh, really?
Before.
It was Cracker Jacks, right? Cracker Jacks, yeah.
And they're stuck to his pajama bottoms, and I never noticed that before. And that's all. There's things like that. So there is extra detail revealed by the bigger screen and the version, but it's such a cool movie. I just it's critic proof, I think, in terms of audio, video, and content, because it's just such a great movie. But yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's a comedy. I think it's the way it was shot is why it's softer. I don't think that's something that if it's shot that way on purpose, you can't really, I mean, how do you improve that? And then, I think it is what it is.
Yeah, that would be an outlier then, though, Deej, because Ferris Bueller's Day Off doesn't have that problem. We talked about Trading Places last week, which is an older film, and that's razor sharp from Paramount, same as this one. So I think where people are unhappy is because it looks different to other releases from that era.
Right.
Now, you could be right. That could well be film stock used, but that would be unusual. So, I think, but like I said, I'm not criticizing it. I don't care. I loved it, and I'm glad to see it on that screen. So
it's a comedy. It's a comedy with heart that you're, nobody ever popped it in for a demo reel. It's like, you're going the wrong way. That was pretty demo worthy because people are like, I don't understand what you're talking about. You got to see the scene. So, you pick it up for the historical value, not for the home theater experience.
Yeah.
But really good. What do we got next, by the way? Oh, another historical Christmas movie. Here we go. I've talked about this many times on the show. We're talking... I don't know why they call it that. It's not that. It's just called First Blood. But everybody calls it Rambo First Blood. Yeah. But it's just First Blood. First Blood from, what did this come out in, 82? 81?
81.
Like I forget.
81.
Something like that off the top of my head. I know it was early. I don't know if I talked about it last year. I do watch this every year at Christmas time, and I've been doing that since the 90s because I watched it so much growing up. I mean, I'm sure you did too, John. Every chance you got, it was on cable. You watched it as a kid. Even, if you weren't even old enough to watch it and you had cable and you could get, it.
But I haven't seen it in years, honestly. It's been a long time. And I own the 4K disc. I just haven't watched it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I watched it again and I came out and I looked at my son. I go, oh my God, do you think it's the glasses? I go, it looks so much better. And he goes, yeah, Dad, it's the glasses. But it does. It looks, to me, it just looks stunning again. And you're like, but the sound of it, it's not, it is front heavy. It's from 80, 81, whatever. But there was a scene that I did write down, and it's at 34 minutes, 15 seconds, and our buddy Carl Ellsworth will like it, this one, the thunder from the front, but it rolls a couple of times. So if I remember correctly, 34:15, they're kind of like going through the forest and they're looking for him, but the storm's coming in, and you can hear the thunder, and it starts at the front left of the room, and then it like kind of rolls to the right and then back to the rear. And now I'm up mixing this with DTS, Master Audio, whatever. I'm up at Neural X, sorry. And I'm like, man, I had to replay it. I was like, that was a great Atmos effect from a movie from like 81, and that's, I don't know if that's what they intended, but it sounded really, really good. And it's little things like that, but I thought the picture was really good. And what I noticed this year on this viewing, and I've had updates with my Lumagen. I've tweaked a few things here and there. But that scene when they're trying to hunt him down early on in the forest, that scene has historically been very milky to me, and very, very, because it's a very dark scene. right? But then you see their white hats, which always cracked me up, even as a kid. Like, and I thought it was funny that Brian Dennehy's character Teasel, he has a Purple Heart. I don't know what the other 2 medals are in his office. So he has served. He's got 3 medals, one of them being a Purple Heart. You'd think he would have known to take his hat off when you're hunting through the woods for somebody who they're like, he's hunting us. And they're walking through with these white hats on to be like, okay, I get the story part of it. They're supposed to be the good guys, but they're really not, but they're wearing the white hats. And so, but the detail in their hats was really nice this time around. Like you could see they got like the cellophane over them because the rain's coming. So they have the plastic over it. And I could see the wrinkles in the plastic, the detail in that. But then the darker scenes when you're looking at different characters in the color in the ferns and the different, foliage around them, I felt like the blacks were deeper, looked better. I don't know if it's just the tweaking that I've done this year on the calibration on the system, or it's the same version I saw the last time and I thought it was a little milkier, but this time it just looks so good. That scene with the guy that gets the punji sticks in the legs and they pull back on that. Again, like I talked about last week with the glasses, and it's like, they're out of focus because they're focused on the characters, one of them being Dennehy. And then just before they break that shot, the focus does go to those bloody points on that stick. And it just comes through that blood is so, so vivid. Amazing. It just like the entire thing. And then there's a scene at the end. I time-stamped it, but it's 21 minutes, until the end. I grabbed the wrong stamp when I looked at it. So, and it's the scene when they find out that he's still alive, right? And they go into the office, and I'd never heard this before, but next time you watch it, Steve, check this out. You can hear the guy at his desk snoring. So they're running through the office like, he's still alive. And the guy goes running up to the microphone to tell him like, hey, Diesel, he's still alive. And there's a guy at his desk. He's like this. And listen to it. You can hear it at the front of your room. You'll hear. Nobody wakes him up or anything, but he's like literally a cop on duty sitting at his desk, just snoring away. But it's very, very subtle. In like, I almost didn't notice that he was even there because you're watching the other character run through the office, the police station, right? But then you hear it and go, what the hell was that? And there's a guy sitting there. It's so great.
Yeah,
so
man.
Great. I love watching it every year. And I mention it probably every time. The opening scene of him going down, and you see, for everybody, all the crap that Stallone has gotten over the years for his inability to act. You watch that opening scene, and then you see the ending, and you see what he has gone through. But you see the hope, and that irony, the city that he goes into is Hope, right? That's where this all takes place. But the hope that he has just looking for his friend, and then watching that hope just flush from his face when he finds out, his friend isn't alive anymore. And you're like, oh, and you're like, come on, people. And this movie came out before the action of the 80s, because this, standing up to all the other action movies, this and Die Hard are the two from the 80s that set themselves apart. Because this was a movie that actually had substance, but it had a little it had a purpose. It had a substance written, off of the book. But then you had Die Hard, which broke the mold that came all after this.
Yeah, it's also one of the few films in the 80s, because I don't think of this as an 80s movie. I think of this as a remnant from the 70s, where the heroes were flawed and were vulnerable and could be hurt. Because this is the only movie where where genuinely you're not sure whether he could survive it, and of course in the book he doesn't survive it. And there is the original ending to the film. He didn't survive it. I mean, we've seen the alternate ending. So in this film, he is vulnerable. He's alone. He can be hurt. He has mental health problems. He's much more of an anti-hero in this than he is in the other movies. There is no ambiguity in the other films. From 2 to 5. he is an unstoppable, all-American killing machine. Whereas
he's a character.
Yeah, well, indeed.
Right.
It's a comic book, from then on. But this film is apart from that. And it is until you get to Die Hard, as you rightly say, where suddenly your 80s guys could become vulnerable again. There's a long thing on a book I was just reading about it. But this film is amazing. One of my favorite films of all time. I love this film. And again, you talk about Stallone and his acting. The scene with Stallone and Dennehy in the squad car at the beginning, which is always wrongly paraphrased as "Why You're Pushing Me," that kind of stuff. Where it became as "Don't Push Me," that's how he became known, wasn't it? That scene is absolutely incredible, and I just the way that plays out is awesome. So I love this film, and again I'd text you, I'd kicking myself that I didn't have time to rewatch it. I am going to rewatch it for the 4 billionth time. Because there's every frame of this movie I love, and it's very, very, very cleverly done. And again, I tell you what, DJ, we're going to do a podcast on Oppenheimer. Let's do a proper podcast on this because I've got so many questions and so many theories about this. But to answer your Brian Dennehy thing about Will Teasel, he's a Korean vet. He fought in Korea with Galt, and so when he says, Galt, we came up together, they fought together in Korea. David Morrell talks about it on the commentary, and I've read the book, and it's all in there. So this is a generational thing. Yeah. So Dennehy thinks, Teasel thinks that Rambo is a symbol of a new breed, a new army that is lesser. They're not honourable. They've let the service down, and the generation has let them down. So this is one of the reasons of many why he doesn't like him as soon as he sees him. And so that kind of is what sparks all of the tension before there's even talk about vagrancy in Jerkwater, USA, and all this stuff. So, yeah, it's such a good film. I love this movie.
There's so much to it. Yeah. Like, I mean, like we were saying with Oppenheimer, there's so much to it that I can watch it over and over. And I do. And that's why I had to limit myself to the holidays because it does take place at Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas stuff going on. But yeah, I gotta be back to the drugstore in the morning.
Which I never special mention, which I never mention, is I absolutely love the John Rambo theme as well. When it's playing at the beginning, as the credits roll at the beginning, that theme is absolutely amazing. I love that piece of music. I listen to that quite a lot. I think that's beautiful. And again, it's interesting at the end of Rambo 4, not 5, but 4, when he's walking up the path back to the homestead, that music plays again, which I think is a lovely book ending to it. It's just unfortunately we then got Rambo 5, which we really didn't need. But never mind.
Exactly.
And just to answer Jordan's...
John, do you have anything?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Jordan just quickly says, he said First Blood's one of my favorite Stallone films. Crazy the UK still doesn't have a 4K release of the fourth film. It may not, Jordan, but it's out in the States, mate. You'll get it cheap, get it imported. It's a really good disc because it's such a crazy movie. The home theater experience of that is not to be missed.
Yeah, that is a crazy one. No, John, I was just wondering if you had any comments before.
Oh, no. Like I said, I mean, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I haven't watched the 4K disc ever. I'll probably try to get it in this week as well. That way, when Steve talks about it next week, I'll see it too. Because like I said, I've owned it for a long time. I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
I think it's Rambo season then, isn't it, guys? We've done our Ip Man season. Yeah. It's time to do our Rambo season.
Yeah. Now, this is the only one that I own on disc, but...
Oh, did you not buy the box set? The set?
No, I got this single disc, like I said, a long time ago. It was one of the first ones I bought. I just haven't watched it.
It would be worth picking up.
Grinder in the chat. Yeah. The last one I wasn't crazy about the movie itself, but I mean, it's good home theater wise. But Grinder in the chat, we should get our home theater systems and our vision and hearing calibrated. LOL. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But it was fun for me, as I talked about last week in my tweak of the week for getting the glasses and stuff. It was nice upgrade. Really nice upgrade. All right, John, you ready for this one? Here we go. Let me pull it to the stage. That's what they call it. All the light we cannot see.
Yeah, All the Light We Cannot See. So this was on Netflix. It's a limited series on Netflix. I think it was only 4 episodes. Again, it's been about 3 weeks since I watched this now, so it might have been 5. But it's pretty tight. Like, it's like a movie. It really is just a movie broken down into 4 episodes. This Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. This was a gem, I thought. Like, I really enjoyed this show. I had no idea what it was going into it, never heard of it. You know, it's a product of the strike, right? Where there's just not a lot of stuff out there to watch, so you're just scrolling through.
Yeah,
I'm just scrolling through Netflix to see what's trending this week, and see if it's anything that looks like it'd be interesting to me. This has Mark Ruffalo and Hugh Laurie in it, so a couple of really good actors, and it's a World War II piece. It's set in France during World War II, and basically it's a small town in France that's being occupied by German soldiers they're all trapped together because the U.S. forces are on their way, and the German army is kind of stuck there. And it's kind of a story about the resistance, like the French resistance to the occupation of France and their town. But it's really, really good. Like I liked it a lot, and it kicks. Like the Atmos on this is awesome.
I've heard.
First, again, it's streaming, but this, again, it's a World War II. So you've got planes, you've got bombings, you've got explosions, guns, all that stuff, and it really, really hits. Like the Atmos on this is excellent. It's the Dolby Vision, the picture. It's dark. A lot of it takes place at night, and it's a grim story. So it's not like super colorful or uplifting, but it's sharp. It looks really good. The night scenes look good. It's not quite as bad as Game of Thrones, on streaming. It's not that dark, but there's some dark scenes here, and I think the HDR or the Dolby Vision and all that stuff do a pretty good job. I don't think we'll ever see this on disc, so this is probably the best we're ever going to get. But it is well worth the 3.5 hours. It's a good story, and like I said, it really hits hard. The audio is excellent, so
yeah,
I really recommend it.
I've gotten a few comments.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few comments from listeners telling me, like, the opening scene, like the opening 15, 20 minutes, they said, in episode 1, if I remember right. I've had a few people tell me, like, you got to see this series, and going back a couple weeks. So when I saw you added this from last week, I was like, oh, good.
Yeah, it was going to be a last week show that I had seen a week or two before even that. So
yeah,
it's been a little while since I saw it, but yeah, well worth it. Well worth the watch.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We'll pull that down. Gurinder, the body count in each Rambo movie goes up. And watching First
like
Blood,
John Wick,
like
right?
only one person dies. It's like, I think only one person dies.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
and that's it in the entire movie, and it's like
they go to very clear lengths to show that Teasel's alive at the end. They make it clear.
Well, yeah,
that
he
he's
stares
survived.
at him.
Yeah. Well, he's on the stretcher as he goes out.
Right, that's what I mean. He looks at him on the stretcher, and they kind of lock eyes, like, yeah. The only other one would have been maybe a couple of the cops in the cruiser that rolled over, but they could have survived it too. You don't know because he does rolls a car. But yeah, so I was going to move this to next week, but I might as well I can just talk about it quick because I talked about it last year. So that is Hawkeye, another Christmas tradition. This is one of, and that's why I just got to mention it briefly. It's a decent home theater experience. The visuals are really, really well done. But the sound, it's Disney+, it's streaming, it's pretty good. There's nothing really demo worthy in here. But I just really like the story. It's festive, it's funny, but it's got a good story. It's got a good wrap up, and it really kind of makes you just like want to see more, Jeremy Renner stuff. I'm hoping they do more with him in the Hawkeye role as this kind of has progressed, and hopefully he's doing much better now. But hopefully they do have plans for that, because I this is my third time. I did it last year, and this year I did it almost in a day. I was just having so much fun with it. So definitely a rewatchable, fun experience to just go back on, as opposed to some of the other ones that we've always talked about this series that maybe a little slog, or if you know that the best part of it is that we didn't know the ending, and then when you find out, you're like, well, it's not as much fun to watch the whole thing again. This one really is. And had a lot of fun with it. So, and right now, if you watch it now, it kind of pays off, because we got Echo coming out in January, right? Beginning of January, I think Echo drops. So, I think that's going to pay off on that one. But had so much fun with it. Like I said, I pulled a John. I practically binge watched this in a day.
Nice.
So took me two more mornings. I did most of it Sunday morning, and then Monday and this morning I finished it up. So it's only 6 episodes too, if I remember right. Yeah, 6 episodes. So all right, final one. Are we going to be able to contain ourselves here?
Yeah, we'll give it a go.
Yeah, here we go. The Fugitive 4K. I'm going to let Steve take it from here. He saw it before I did. Fugitive 4K, as everybody has stated all over social media, mastered from the 8K. They pulled an 8K out of the film. So it's an 8K master. What did you think, Steve? Did you see it, John? Sorry.
I mean, I have seen it, but no, I don't have.
But you haven't seen the
watched
4K yet.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Yeah,
I've seen the movie multiple times, but
yeah. I mean, I've seen it many times. I've owned it on everything that it's been released on, pretty much, apart from Laserdisc. But hadn't seen it for a long time, and I think I'd forgotten just how good a film this is, or if not actually, the delivery system has improved and made a very good film, an excellent film. Because I had an absolute blast rewatching this, and I know every frame of this movie. I know it to the point where it's almost a parody of itself. But I really enjoyed watching this version of it. So it's still a great movie, still really well done, very cleverly made. Didn't realize it was such a troubled production until recently. They had all kinds of problems with this, but actually it's a really well made movie. So yeah, everyone knows the film. In terms of the video and the audio, it is an absolutely fantastic experience. Visually, it has never looked like this.
The opening credits, sound at the front left of your room, boom, boom, you're like, oh wow, awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm coming on to the sound. yeah. I was just going to say it. But the video is really, really nice. And you talk about the opening, the opening interrogation scene where you've got Ford in his tuxedo with the blood on his cuffs, and he's got his beard and he's sort of stroking his beard, and you've got the cops around the table. That looks absolutely stunning. It's really, really, really well done. The white of the tuxedo, the black of the shirt, the black of the tuxedo, the red of the blood. You can see the pores on his face. There is grain because it is shot in film, but it's well done. It's not obtrusive. It's not overly problematic. And it carries on through the film. And, of course, it's quite a desaturated movie for most of the runtime because, of course, it's shot in wintertime in Chicago. It's supposed to be cold, and the exteriors are. So it is quite desaturated. We lost John. But it still is beautiful. It looks really, really good, and every bit as good as you can hope it would look, bearing in mind its age and again, even its budget. And then the audio and how it is in Dolby Atmos. And I think we're very lucky to get it in that. I mean, I'm amazed that they took the time to do it. And I don't think they've just put this through a filter, because it sounds very nice indeed. And even down to, funny enough, that particular scene there, when they go into the underground tunnels in the dam, you can hear the water dripping right above you, and you can hear water rushing around. And it genuinely feels like you are right there. Sorry, excuse me, guys. So you can hear the water dripping and running down the walls. You can hear it surrounded there, the echoes of their footsteps and all this kind of stuff. It was fantastic. And obviously that scene with the crashing of the train is awesome and sounds every bit as good as it always did. It used to be a demo scene. And maybe not quite up to some of the more modern stuff, but still very, very good indeed. And the soundtrack perfectly complements the movie. So I was very pleased with this disc. What did you think, Deej?
Yeah, I grabbed it. I got it upgraded on Kaleidescape. And I think, I don't know what it was, $9 or whatever, just to upgrade it. And it is, I was hoping that it was going to be as stunning as it was, and it was. I mean, visually, it is so good at times that, like you said, there is some grain in there. The stairwell chase scene, you can see, but and what made me think of it there is I'm like, I'm wondering if it's like you got to use, and John would know this, Paul would know this, but it's like you've got to use certain cameras for an action scene like that when you're but the stairwell is poorly lit. You can't studio's not going to come in and light that entire stairwell. So that's, I think, is going to, kind of it's going to inhibit a crystal clear shot, because you can see right when they come into the hallway area how well lit that is. And there is a scene when Tommy Lee Jones comes out of the stairwell and he's looking around, and just look at the difference in clarity, and the grain just like literally just disappears, and the clarity that you get of him and the close-ups of his face. And I mean, Tommy Lee Jones at this time, young guy, but he still has a very distinguished face, very distinguishable face, I should say. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, he just looks, I mean, in him in this movie, to me, you can't know, there's no enhancing Tommy Lee Jones with the delivery system, because Tommy Lee Jones and his sarcasm, his delivery of everything, his timing is just so good that he's, I mean, I was just waiting for the line when he goes, and don't let them give you any crap about your bun.
Your ponytail either.
Yeah, your ponytail or whatever. And it's just, we're smart guys. What are you talking about? We're smart guys too. What do you, hey, look at leg irons without any legs in them. It's like, he is awesome. And it's like, but the home theater experience, like you said, it's funny you mentioned the train. That was Laserdisc demo material. And to your point, and we've been talking about this on Twitter too, is like how much better, like, oh, well, the audio back then was no. Because it's what we're used to today, and the depth and detail that we get, it's just not there. It was just never recorded, right? They'd have to go through and actually remaster that entire thing, put in brand new audio if you're going to bring that audio up. But I don't want them to, because I love that's the best it's going to sound. And it did. It sounded great, but it just didn't have the bottom end and the detail and the highs that you would get in a cut from today. But it's still it's a great scene. I mean, that was a special feature, watching stuff like that on how they did that scene when he jumps off the train, and it's like, or jumps off the bus. And I mean, it's just so well done. So well done.
It is.
Definitely.
It's an awesome
another.
Yeah,
just another, like, it's a must own as a home theater fan, because if you weren't around when this came out on disc or Laserdisc back then, this is what it was like. And now you have a great replica of the difference of what we can do today, what they did back then, how good this is. So much to it. And it is a great story too. It's a fun, you go through it. It's scary because you're like, God, could this happen to me? It's like,
well, the only thing I would like to see is, I'd like to see the story continue 2 weeks later, where we get to the court where all charges are dropped and the appeal is successful and the murder charge is quashed. But then he's immediately arrested and tried for theft, impersonating a doctor, grand theft auto, possession of a firearm, threatening a federal official with his own gun. He'd probably end up with longer in prison than he would have got if he just like had taken the murder charge. But anyway, he commits all these offenses.
He had death penalty.
Yeah, well,
he had the death penalty. He was on death row. So
if you threaten a federal marshal, but if you threaten a federal marshal with his own gun, are you not at risk of that anyway?
Yeah, that's what made the story work so well. It's like, I mean, what they're like, just turn yourself, like when he first calls his lawyer, just turn yourself in. Why? They're going to kill me. You're on death row and the bus turns over. I'm running too. Come on. It's like, I'm on death row. What do I got to lose? The bus turns over and I turn myself in and they're going to tell me, oh, okay, now we're not going to kill you now.
Yeah, the true ending of this movie is that Richard Kimball goes to the gas chamber for something he did do rather than stuff he didn't. So that's all fine.
Yeah. So
happy. Bright side.
Yep. Hashtag bright side.
It's a great disc. It's a great disc and a great film.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a series, wasn't it? A TV series
from a TV series,
50s or 60s.
Yeah,
it was a TV series, and they made it into a 2+ hour feature film. So look at that. History went backwards there. Now they're doing everything in a series. Back then, they took series and made a movie out of it.
Well, look at Mission Impossible. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you wanted an example of a TV show being made into a successful movie franchise, then there's your example there, isn't it?
The best part is they'll make The Fugitive and Mission Impossible into a series now, and all the kids will be like, "This is a great idea."
Netflix, come for me.
Yeah, how come Netflix isn't doing this? So, all right, that's it, right? That's it.
Yeah.
We made it. We're a little over there, Steve. I know you got to get going.
No. To be fair, it's bang on 2 hours. Look at the live timing. Look, 1 hour 59.
Yeah, because we started a little late, but we're a little over your bedtime.
Pleased, I made it.
I know. I told you would. Once you get going, how do you stop? You know.
I drop?
All right.
Right.
Exactly. So, all right. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Great chat, as always. So much fun watching you guys. I talked about that on Takeover Tuesday today as well. Just pretty funny. Like when I was on, I'll talk about it later. If you're go and listen to it, I don't want to keep Steve up any later than I have to. Thank you to everybody and all the patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to everybody for all the support. Keep talking about us. Keep telling us that's why it's growing. And you know, we're gonna have another ton of movies to talk about next week too. And I might even watch First Blood again. I mean, if you two are gonna do it, why not? That's a tight one too. Isn't that only like an hour 40? It's not
even that. I think it's 90, isn't it? Or isn't it 80, 87? It's really, really short. Yeah, it's not a long film.
It's so good. Yeah. Not a slog. Not a slog at all.
No.
So, all right.
Endlessly watchable film.
Everybody, I'm trying to do mostly holiday movies. And I don't know if you guys have caught in the theme yet with everything I've done here. So yeah, which means Steve's going to come in with like another horror movie because he's like, wrong holiday, Steve. It is after your birthday, though. So, all right. Till next week, you know what you got to do.
Go push play.
What he said.
That's right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.